Let's talk supply chain. So welcome to the show, Rik.
Great to be here, Sarah. We finally get to talk and get to learn more about what we're doing here at GoFreight.
Yes, I am so excited to have you here. I mean, GoFreight has such a refreshing approach. You're all about empowering forwarders and championing smaller businesses. And honestly, I think we need a lot more of that in the industry. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Why don't you give us a bit of an introduction before we dig deeper into your solutions? Who is GoFreight? What do you do? How do you help your customers?
So GoFreight's a freight forwarding software as a solution company that provides a comprehensive software solution for freight forwarders. And our mission is to really help these businesses save costs, streamline and optimize their operations, which we've seen as a result is increased efficiency and improved profitability. And that's why our customers matter to us so much, is that we see an impact every day. We hear from our customers every day. And that's a very meaningful part of the business.
Yeah, and I come from a freight forwarding background. I was in operations for 8 years, and let me tell you, this was a while ago. So everything was manual. We did not have a ton of automation. There was so much data entry. There was so much paper. All I remember was on my desk, I had stacks and stacks and stacks of files because I got through a lot of files in a day, but they were like stacks, and these ones over here to do this and these ones over here to do that. So I know what we talk about when we're talking about some of those manual operations. I'm sure that we've drugged some of them kicking and screaming into some automation, but I don't think we're there yet, right? And who I worked for was a medium-sized business. And so I really like the fact that you focus on those. I mean, you help small to medium-sized businesses. Do you have an ideal client of who you are best suited for, or who you like to work with?
We do. And it's the majority of our business and our focus is the United States and Canada. And those customers consist of freight forwarders and NVOCCs that are in the supply chain and logistics business. Pretty straightforward. Where we find those that are an ideal fit are those that are tired of having file cabinets full and drawers full of paperwork and stacks on their desk. And they're really trying to make that transition to become a comprehensive and scalable business. And then they want a cloud-based software management system to reduce their costs and streamline their business. And opening their minds to that can be a bit of a challenge. I think it's really the struggle of how do they get their data from wherever it is and bring it into either a new or an existing system of record. And that's where we help them a lot.
Well, and I think also too, if I think back to those days, like there was so much to do in a day just to get a shipment processed and moved through and get the shipment to the customer. And it's very, time-based, right? So I can understand a little bit of hesitancy when we think about moving to a new system and things like that. And we're going to get into what all of that looks like, because I'm sure you make it super easy. But, I even remember I had to type checks on a typewriter, and that was that long ago, but I'm sure we've come a long way from that.
We hope.
So, was it a conscious decision when, Trenton founded GoFreight to design solutions that help really small to medium-sized businesses? I'm very curious about this because we see a lot of solutions for enterprises, right? We see a lot of enterprise level domination across the market. Why is it so important to GoFreight to empower those smaller brands to make it easier to start, run, and grow businesses? And we always need more freight forwarders, right? We always need more people in this industry because the shipments just keep growing and growing, and they keep getting more complex.
That's right. I think that's a key point, is they do get more complex. And for small, medium-sized businesses to be successful, we try to take out the complexity and make it simple and easy to use. But one of the key points that Trenton and his co-founders thought about is they had a vision at first to empower all freight forwarders with better technologies. But after several years, they really discovered that it's a long tail market. Most of that market, the majority, is driven by tens of thousands of small and medium-sized global freight forwarders. And they really wanted something easy to use, a business-oriented management software that wasn't so one-sided about the technicalities and the details which it needs, but that they could run their whole business on. And they identified those businesses, and that's where the focus came in to develop as a core mission And a vision is to have these small businesses, let's start with small, move to becoming mid-sized and grow their businesses by becoming efficient and becoming cost effective and being able to manage things that are sometimes out of their control, because without the core capabilities of a digital solution, they many times are left with multiple problems, both efficiencies and some other components of the business, as you well know, that we're trying to overcome. With their input, we're overcoming a lot of these obstacles for these businesses to grow and to become efficient and to move into the digital world.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so important, right? Because I also think about how many emails I
All-
had on a daily basis. I mean, it was a lot. Like when you think about a freight forwarder and you think about a shipment, communication really is key. Because the communication that the freight forwarder is providing their client is then providing that information to their client who is waiting for maybe one product within that pallet or whatever that looks like. And communication is really key. And there's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of communication. There's a lot of, bringing that communication together and just make it easier. And so I think if we can make one part of what we do on a daily basis as a freight forwarder easier, it just has a snowball effect into everything else.
Agreed. One of the things, though, I wanted to also emphasize in why the founders chose to go the direction and create the vision for the company was, when you think about, you have the enterprise side of the business, and then you have, these larger top 1% folks who have a stronghold in a lot of areas. We really believe this levels the playing field for folks. It allows them to start, run, and grow their operations more efficiently. It fosters competition, it encourages innovation, and it contributes more to a diverse and dynamic industry where, a lot of times, having myself come from very large companies, it kind of stagnates a little bit. It's become kind of like we do what everybody else does. And by having the ability to support these smaller and medium-sized businesses, we really believe it supports and promotes economic growth, job creation, and overall industry resilience. And that's why we're here.
Yeah, and I like what you said there, leveling the playing field, right? It shouldn't be that hard, and we should be able to bring everybody in a way that we can compete, right? And that we're doing the best for the shippers within the industry as well. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the solutions that are empowering these businesses. Tell us about your freight forwarding and management software. What does that look like? What can customers do within it? And what are the key benefits?
Great. So as we mentioned, it really empowers these freight forwarders, and the comprehensive platform that we've developed provides capabilities designed to reduce their costs, increase their operational efficiencies, and identify additional revenue opportunities by streamlining the shipment management, documentation, customs compliance, financial management. You mentioned it earlier. We can reduce a lot of the manual effort, minimize errors is another component, and then improve the efficiency of those day-to-day tasks that can be automated by automating and digitizing these operations. Saving time and resources in small, medium-sized businesses is just
huge.
It's huge, and then they can allocate their resources more effectively. They can optimize workflows and enhance the productivity of the people that they have. And we've seen cost savings generated through streamlining these operations, improves their bottom and top line, and then delivers exceptional customer value. Because what we haven't talked about here yet, and we will, is they have customers and they need to be satisfying those customers. So we're kind of a B to B to C kind of a feel to it, because we are supporting the customers, ours, and their customers by implementing this system. And the way that we really do that is giving them the access to this technology in the cloud. A lot of these small companies don't have IT resources. They don't have the ability to pay for infrastructure, to have engineers on staff. Some of the back to the enterprise folks in this business, they have a lot of resources and dollars that they can donate to their own cost-cutting technologies, but we're building that into our system. And that way they can significantly use the upfront investment to not have to buy hardware, not have to worry about updates and security patches. This empowers them to just focus on what they do well, which is working with their customers. And by streamlining those operations, it allows them to have scalability and growth. That's I mentioned earlier, we've seen some of our smaller customers start hiring people, start doing more business because they have the increased capabilities to grow bigger than they probably thought they could because they were constrained by paper and pen. This also gives them a competitive advantage. By empowering these folks with this advanced technology that we build, they don't have to learn other than using it day to day. This really enables them to compete with the larger players as they start growing and to win new business and build strong, trusted relationships with their customers and partners. So that business growth is where we see the impact in the industry, but we see it with our customers, where we see if somebody were listening to this saying, well, why would I make this decision? Well, whether it's us or somebody else, the businesses around them are adapting and digitally transforming.
Yeah.
And having business insights at your fingertips as, say, a business owner, president, operations director, really gives you the capability to identify new business capabilities, where you can find cost savings, reduce your fines and transactional errors. And it really has built where we find, and we've seen it in some of our peer reviews, is that people just feel empowered to just get their job done and go to work every day and not worry about how they're going to transact, grow, manage, and how they're going to scale the business without knowing where the dollars are going or where the potential for business is or where can they save money. Because as you know, with your expertise and experience, doing it on paper, it's not manageable. Even in spreadsheets, it's not manageable.
I know. Well, you had me at new revenue streams. I mean, I liked that one. I think any freight forwarder listening is going to like that one as well. What I didn't hear from you is tracking, because I remember not so long ago, a customer asking me why they couldn't track their shipment. And this was a while ago at sea. And just the idea at the time seemed a little crazy to me when we were still sending faxes and I was typing those checks on a typewriter. And now here we are seeing that much needed visibility in the market. So tell us all about your tracking system and how are customers using it?
Well, I did leave it out so that you could hopefully ask me about it. So I'm glad, because it is a common pain point, and it is something. So not long after Trenton and the other founders entered this business, they did hear often that their customers wanted to have like an Uber-like experience, where they couldn't find a quality solution. So rather than grasp at straws, they just forgot about it, or they just dealt with it. So we built a solution for these early customers, and we've adapted it and innovated on it since. And it's really become kind of the go-to solution. And a lot of people sign up just because of our tracking. And then they realize we can do more because it really solves the requirements of their business. But there's a few different parts here, right? There's the visibility data. There's the customer-facing dashboards so that their customers know where their shipments are. And then there's the internal applications based on that visibility data. So while everybody's familiar with, say, a customer-facing front end or an FMS platform, it's how you display and format that data so that you see, and you mentioned communication, so you can trigger through the right channel, whether it's email, website, or another means, SMS, to know where and when you need to react or be prepared. And it really builds into the efficiencies of the business. So, imagine managing hundreds of thousands. No, you don't need to imagine, you've done it. Hundreds of thousands of these software perspective, but it's a project. It's like having a project management tool that updates you on critical milestones in the real shipment world of visibility data. So, it's real-time data, and that's what's critical, right? It minimizes those errors and those unfortunate, when those errors happen, some of the costs that come along with that. And those are the things that we built into the visibility part of the business to make sure that tracking was something that was meaningful from door to door. And like that experience, you can see it in real time, and you can also have the alerts and updates that you need. And what we found is one of the biggest pain points is our customers. That visibility is one of the largest pain points when it comes to trust. If they can't guarantee, like, we're going to have it in this day. And if there's delays, you just want to be aware, because as you know, when things get to port, things move quickly. And before they get to port, you need to be aware and prepared so you can start making phone calls, prepare trucking, offboarding. So those are the kinds of things that our tracking does.
So when you talk about that, I think about this client that I just mentioned that wanted like that Uber-like experience. And I think about if I were able to have given her that in that moment,
Right.
and then also be able to send her a text message to
Right.
be ding, your shipment is delayed by 2 days, or ding, your shipment is in. I mean, I would
Uh,
have had a client for life. I don't think
right.
she would have left at that point.
Not at all. No, because who else is going to do that? And
Yeah.
that's one of those key elements that we feel not only builds that that stickiness with our customers who we retain over and over again and renew, is that
Yeah.
their customers will do the same, because as you know, it's a very competitive business.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of benefits to the visibility that you just spoke about, but I want to talk a little bit more about fines because I think historically fines have been seen as a part of life, but increasingly we've got shipping rates going up and up, margin squeeze to the limit.
Yep,
Reducing things like demurrage, detention, or per diem fines is all of a sudden a really big area of opportunity. And that kind of came out of the pandemic as well, because we saw some really big fines.
I
So
bet.
talk to us about that, because I think that's on a lot of supply chain professionals' minds right now.
Yeah, our visibility solution is crucial in minimizing that demurrage and detention fines for our customers, addressing that decreasing gross margin in post-pandemic times is top of mind for us, and we hear it often. So what we really wanted to make sure is our solution provides an invaluable, significant impact to their business, reducing those human errors. Sometimes it's human, sometimes it's uncontrollable. But what we've seen is, at least in the last year, an average savings of 32% on these fines per shipment. And the automatic reminders that benefit our customers and their customers really reduces the costs associated with those potential disputes that can happen. And in one instance, we've saved one of our customers over the last year $85,000 in fines alone, which
Wow.
obviously really substantially reduces their cost of doing business and their customers' cost of doing business, because a lot of times that buck gets passed, and that's not a favorable thing to do.
No, that is a big number, especially when we're talking about small to medium sized freight forwarders. Now I can really see how you were
Right?
able to help your client, right, expand and bring more people on to the business if you're helping them
Exactly.
save that kind of money, right? Because it's not just for them, it's for their clients as well. And if they can show that kind of savings to their clients, then that's amazing. And that's where you develop that relationship, that partnership, that client for life that I was just talking about from that last question. And I think another key area of opportunity in supply chain, but really across multiple industries, is this post-pandemic landscape, right? Is the customer. And
Mm-hmm.
your company values include customer obsession and customer trust. Like, you really focus on the customer experience. We're starting to hear this more and more in the industry because people, I think, are realizing the value of that customer experience and how it doesn't necessarily need to be the same for each client, because they have all different expectations and perspectives and things like that.
Right.
Why do you focus on that? And what can success look like when you have that genuine customer centric approach? What is the impact of that on the industry as a whole?
Yeah, great way to frame that, because it's not just, look, it's often said customer first, customer centric, and
Right.
it can be overused. What is that? And that's why you're asking, well, what do you mean
Yeah.
when you say that? For us, the focus on customer experience, it's of paramount importance because it directly aligns to our core values of customer obsession and customer trust. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
There's a great, the way I looked at it, it comes from my days at Apple, is a brand is a promise kept. And to me, keeping those promises isn't always possible when there's things that break, but it's how you handle things. So by prioritizing the customer experience and the customer approach that we take, we tailor our solutions and services to meet their needs. We're not just doing this because here's what happens. There's different viewpoints, but a lot of times people in software, let's use that as an example, build what they think people should have. Great. And a lot of times they're right. but they don't ask questions. They don't do surveys. They don't look for results. They don't talk to customers. That's a big problem. We talk to customers a lot, to the point we're having dinner with customers in person now that we're out of the pandemic, that we have customer first videos that show them all the different features and benefits. And then we also tailor those to meeting pain points as they come. That's the innovation component, right? Because we're not innovating because we want to do things. We're innovating because there's best practices. There's what we're hearing from feedback. Customer first approach means a consistent communication with your customers, listening, and then not reacting, but responding. Reacting would just be doing something you think they want versus, okay, this is what we hear. We're going to do these things and then doing them. There's that promise kept.
Amazing. I love that promise. And I love the way that you think about it and how you frame it. Now, as we look a little bit into the future, what do you think that your clients or freight forwarders should be thinking about? What strategies should they be adopting to booster their businesses, their supply chain for their customers?
Yeah, it goes a lot to what we said, but let me maybe frame it in a way that's straightforward. They should really adopt strategies to bolster their ability to manage their businesses and their customers' success. This includes embracing digital transformation to enhance their operational efficiencies, the visibility component we talked about, strengthening their resilience and ability and agility to navigate the uncertainty, prioritizing sustainable practices, improving collaboration and visibility with stakeholders while investing in skills and talent. We talked about people, not only hiring, but maintaining the staff that you have. And with these digital transformation initiatives comes some training. And by doing this, I believe freight forwarders can optimize their operations, adapt to ever-changing market environments and dynamics, and then really position themselves for success in an ever-changing industry.
Absolutely. So much great advice and so many things to think about. But I think that if we think about these things, we can really drive our businesses into the future. So one of the things we haven't touched on is onboarding, but we did talk about it a little bit earlier, where there's so much happening when you have to get a shipment out, right? And it's all about timing. So let's talk about integration and onboarding, because I think you say that customers can onboard and deploy the system within a week. Is that right? Like, talk to us through that process.
When I first joined the company 6 months ago, that was one of the first things I saw. And I said, okay, I got to see this to believe it. And I've spent time with one of our co-founders, Bruce, who runs the customer success organization, and his team. And they have done so much work to make this as easy as possible for those folks that are frustrated with digital. They're frustrated with apps and things and moving through a new dashboard. We've made it great to onboard. And let me tell you how we've done it. So say like in the first week, let's use the week as an example. We meet with our customers, we review the process, simple logins to accessing the key points of interest that they've already demonstrated they need to when we had our introductory meeting before they signed a contract. Then we introduce them to the core platform capabilities and functionalities, demonstrate real life examples. A lot of times they're like, yeah, but how do I, who does this? Why do I do that? We walk them through all of that. We have numerous videos that we send to customers that can keep them informed on that. And then we also take time during that onboarding process in the first week of understanding their day-to-day routine, showcased custom options that are available in our platform, and then tailor the product as needed to their specific requirements. And that was I met with a customer. I'd been here about 4 weeks, went to LA, went door to door with some of our sales folks and customer success folks to meet customers, and met this one customer. And that was one of the first three things she said was, this was so easy to use. My team was able to disconnect from their previous system, start using your dashboards in a week. And that became our quote because it was true. And she wrote a case study for us because she was so thrilled that her team, and that's one of the biggest concerns, right? Is look, I have software for my team. And if I'm going to get a new platform, the last thing I want them to do is spend so much time trying to figure out how to use it than to just go to work. And if they can't do that, it's frustrating for management. It's frustrating for the people using it. And so we really put that into care, and our user experience and user interface is where we put it. So it's smooth, it's easy, it's intuitive in the sense of you look at it and you go, okay, that makes sense. That's over here, not hidden behind, I've seen some of the competitors and they're just line items, and you'd have to go and scroll on the left side of navigation, and it's not even alphabetical.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of work into that user interface to make that 7 days really true.
Yeah. Well, and I think not only that, but you also don't want to choose the wrong one. I think as a supply chain leader with your teams, you don't want to be choosing the
You don't
wrong
be known as that
one.
person.
So let's talk about what that case study looks like. Like, paint us a picture. What was the challenge they came to you with?
Yeah.
What was the solution that you provided? What was the ROI and benefit that they were able to see from working with you?
Well, there was a couple that was top of mind. First of all was ease of use. They'd been in the previous their previous company's platform for a year. They'd struggled for the entire time using it, troubleshooting. There were bugs, there were issues. Their data was hard to find even when they would upload it.
Mm-hmm.
That was one. The other one was they had to pay a fee to a separate company to work as their customer success. So they had to not only pay for the platform, then they had to pay another company and by the hour to help them. And it was beyond, if you think about a small, medium-sized business, right? You're like, this is just money out that becomes
time.
an expense, and it becomes time consuming.
Yes.
You got to stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
Your phones are ringing, your emails are stacking up, you're trying to get work done. And now you're trying to figure out a system you've had for a year, and they were done. And so but they were also like there's a lot of what the secondary part of this is. A lot of the people that have had systems are now jaded. Now they think they're all like that.
Right.
You know, it's like buying a car that's a lemon and you think all cars are bad. So she had called and met with one of our other co-founders, Alex, who's in the LA area, and he met with her, walked her through it, showed her how easy it was. She said, okay, this has got to be the solution. Now, by the way, how much is it going to cost me to keep you guys answering the phones? Or no, it's included. And she's like, oh, and we can onboard in a week, and I don't need to pay every time I talk to you. No, okay, great, done. And then when her team actually was able to go right to work and use it and start booking and start using it and start, managing their systems. And the other part is always the integration of previous data. Like, how do you get the data from the other system to our system? That's always something to improve, because a lot of this data in all systems across any company you're with is disparate. It's different. So we work really hard to make sure that we can bring in your system's data and integrate it into our system.
Amazing. Amazing. And like, just the fact that you made them look like rock stars. The leader looked like a rock star. The people using the software looked like rock stars because it was easy, right? They were able to just get in there and do it. So I love that, because supply chain professionals are rock stars and they should be treated
100%.
as the rock stars that they are. So one final question. At the end of last year, you raised an impressive $23 million in a Series A funding. So first off, congratulations. And how do you see that boosting your growth and customer offering? What does the future hold for GoFreight?
Yeah, thanks for that. Congratulations goes to the founders for all the hard work they put in before I got here. This last 6 months has been a benefit to knowing what we're going to do with it, which is invest in product development, innovation. Of course, bringing somebody like me on in marketing, it's not just about telling everybody a story and selling it to people. It's about continuing to innovate, improving the product, making sure that we do R&D, that we invest in new capabilities and functionalities. We're investing in new partnerships with soon. Hopefully we get to meet with you again. We get to announce some of those partnerships that are in the works to continue to remain a robust, user-friendly, very capable freight management system and software that is always evolving with the industry, that's listening to our customers and keeping them competitive, offering a competitive advantage. We talked about that. But by enabling the marketing and sales team here as well, we can expand that and bring our message to a larger audience, working with people like you, to expand the knowledge of what GoFreight offers. But that puts pressure on us. That's a good pressure. We've got to show up ready, and we've got to have a very capable, robust, and always on 24/7 freight management system in the cloud. And that investment is being used to innovate and constantly improve our platform.
Amazing. And I can't wait to see what you do and what those announcements are, which we are going to work together on. So
Yes,
it's
we will.
really excited about that. So in today's fast-paced, technology-driven world, freight forwarders are faced with a range of complex challenges that often leave them firefighting. So as the future of freight forwarding evolves, it's essential to partner with the right team who can guide you through your transformation journey. As an industry leading provider of intelligent freight management solutions, GoFreight has the expertise, technology, and dedication to help you implement essential future proof strategies effectively, enhancing your operational efficiency and productivity. If you want to find out more, you can check them out at gofreight.com. And a massive thanks to Rik for joining me today and to the team at GoFreight for making this episode happen. Thanks, Rik.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure talking to you today.